Theater, hosted by Kevin Hart. The show celebrates Black excellence in music, film, TV, and sports. Kendrick Lamar leads the pack with 10 nominations. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the title?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA Finals is tied up at 1-1. The Oklahoma City Thunder rebounded from a traumatic loss in Game 1 with a 123-107 win over the Indiana Pacers. Another magnificent game from NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 points and 8 assists. SGA has 72 points in the first 2 games in the finals. That's the highest 2-game total in NBA history for a player competing in his first finals. The next 2 games are in Indianapolis. Game 3 is Wednesday night. The Dodgers beat St. Louis Sunday 7-3. They start a 3-game series tonight in San Diego. The Angels lost at home to Seattle 3-2. Angels batters struck out 18 times. The Angels start a 3-game series tonight at home against Oakland. UCLA's baseball team is in the College World Series for the first time since 2013. The Bruins beat Texas San Antonio 7-0 to win the LA Super Regional. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So, head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's the best of the whinings all day today on Tavis, Smiley. June is Black Music Month, and every day in the month of June we choose a different artist and play some of the best of their catalog in and out of these conversations, all 3 hours of the show. Today it's the best of the Winans family. This is the Winans, If I Labor. Of course, we're playing some BB and CC. So many talented folk in that one family. The Winans are like the Wayans, right? There's so much talent in one family. The Wayans, of course, on the stage. The Winans on vinyl. Turn that up, Miles. That I need some of that today.
Did the Lord not say, whatever I pray, did the Lord not say, what will it be? Did the Lord not say, He would take us away in our labor? God is gonna get me. Oh, yes.
All right, let's get this party started. In this hour, two conversations as promised. On the B side, media executive Paul Allen Billings talks about the ultimate radio promotion of free trip to Africa for kids from low-income communities, all of whom are first-generation international travelers. How cool is that? We'll talk about it on the back side of this hour. We commenced this hour, though, in conversation with Princeton economics professor Leah Boustan on her new text, Streets of Gold, America's Untold Story of Immigrant Success. The timing of this conversation could not be more propitious, talking about immigrant success and how America wouldn't be without the sacrifice, the struggle, the effort, the impact of immigrants, timely given what's happening on the streets of Los Angeles right now. The whole world knows that Donald Trump, against the wishes of the mayor of this city, Karen Bass, we played audio of her last hour against the wishes of the governor of this state, Gavin Newsom, who's now suing the federal government for these troops being on the ground here in L.A. Donald Trump, nonetheless, forced National Guards troops down our throats, and they are on our streets here in L.A. where I sit right now, even as we speak. So we played audio in the first hour from the mayor. We played audio from the city attorney. Some sound now from the L.A. County Sheriff, Robert Luna. Your suggestion notwithstanding, and we all concur with that, but there are people right now who are just afraid. They are afraid to step out, to exercise their First Amendment right to free speech. What do you say as our sheriff to those persons who are afraid to exercise that right in real time?
I think it's a legitimate concern. I am not going to say that that's not a real thing, but we're from Los Angeles, and we've dealt with this for so many years. We need to stick together. If you need to go out and do your business, go out and do it. Make sure for our community members, I'm telling people, carry your identification, carry your proof of citizenship, understand your rights if you are contacted by authorities in any way. And here's something very, very important. If you do end up having a contact that turns into some kind of confrontation, my thing is comply. Do whatever you can to comply, and then document what's going on, and then complain later. Don't get in a confrontation with either law enforcement, either at a local level or at a federal level. And I'm really hoping that things start working out. I know that's easier said than done, but we're in this together, and we're going to get through this together.
That is the sheriff of LA County, Robert Luna, in conversation with me yesterday as we were trying in real time on a Sunday even to properly understand the frame that we are in this city right now. And make no mistake, if they come for us in the day, they're going to come for you at night. So it's LA today, it could be Chicago tomorrow, Atlanta the next day. This administration will stop at nothing to blame and to bash and to round up and to attempt to deport persons, even if they don't need to be deported. You saw the story; they had to return somebody, a couple people, not the first two, but not the last two, that they'll be forced to reckon with as they just start rounding people up, sending them to parts unknown. When we come forward, I want to engage Leah Boustan in a conversation about her book, Streets of Gold, America's Untold Story of Immigrant Success. Donald Trump, again, where you hear right now, would say he's doing what he's doing because he's trying to save America, and these immigrants are sabotaging America. Who's right, Donald Trump or Leah Boustan? We'll talk about when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
May 6th was World Asthma Day, and it's a critical time to raise awareness about your asthma. Did you know that Black Americans are approximately 5 times more likely than white Americans to visit the emergency department due to their asthma? Managing your asthma is possible with regular checkups, avoiding known triggers, using prescribed medications correctly, and creating an asthma action plan with your healthcare professional. An action plan is a personalized plan you create with your doctor that shows you what to do and what medications to take to help control your asthma when you're having a hard time breathing or having an asthma attack. Stay aware, have a plan because your health matters. For more tips and resources on managing your asthma, visit luma-edu.com. luma-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca. KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. William Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
The best of the wine-ins all day today as we celebrate June as Black Music Month here on Tavis Smiley. Leah Boustan, Princeton economics professor, author of the text, co-author, Streets of Gold, America's Untold Story of Immigrant Success. Delighted to have you on this program. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Tavis. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on the program. Let me jump right in and make the most of the time that we have. I suggested a moment ago that the story that you're telling about the contribution of immigrants in this country is a far different story than the one that Donald Trump is trying to tell us. Who's right, Donald Trump or you?
Well, even politicians like Donald Trump seem to think that immigrants that came to the U.S. 100 years ago from places like Italy and Poland, from all over Europe, did well when they got here, and their children moved up the economic ladder and into the middle class. But I think where Donald Trump and I differ is in our views of immigrants today who come from countries all over the world. They come from Europe still, but also now from Latin America, from Asia, from Africa, from all over the world. And as it turns out in the data, immigrants today and their children are moving up just as rapidly as immigrants from 100 years ago. You know, when we think back during that time, we have a nostalgic view, and we only see those immigrants now with these rosy-colored glasses to say, well, they learned English quickly, they found good jobs. Well, it turns out that immigrants now are just as successful, but it takes time. It's not that the first year or two after arriving in the US, you're suddenly knowing English and using English on the job. Just like immigrants in the past, it takes 10, 15 years for immigrants to move up, and their children are usually the generation that becomes successful.
You mentioned how nostalgic we are about immigrants of yesteryear. What's your sense of how this narrative on immigration so shifted in this country? Because that's not how we think of immigrants, to your point, today.
Well, I think that many of us do descend from immigrants and hear stories from grandparents about how it was hard in the first few years, but we quickly moved up, is what people in the family say. But those kinds of family stories often paper over the challenges. If you start looking into your own family history for those who have immigrants in the family, you'll realize that, well, maybe great grandma never actually learned English. Maybe in the first generation, people were working manual jobs and they weren't earning very much at all. Maybe children had to drop out of school and help the family make ends meet. But after 2, 3 generations go by, some of those parts of the story get lost. Now, when we look around and we see recent immigrants in our neighborhoods, in our schools, when we go shopping, at work, what we're seeing is real time. And we're seeing people who are struggling to make ends meet without realizing that, in fact, the same process took place for immigrants who came from Europe 100 years ago. So when we look into the data and we see what kinds of jobs did people hold, how much did they earn, were they moving up? The answer is that it takes time, just as much now as it did then. But really, it's the kids who are able to make it happen. They often are going to school in the US, they're learning English at school, and they're able to take jobs that are more complicated and more successful than their parents.
How are we reading, you mentioned real time versus yesteryear, how are we reading in real time this Trump travel ban against black and brown countries?
Well, I think what's really special about the moment we're living in now is that there are people in the electorate, maybe around half of voters, who are supportive of immigrant communities. When we went back into the historical record, what we found is that the anti-immigrant sentiment was actually more intense in the past. So we are actually seeing all sorts of attempts at pushing back, whether it's people who are on the street protesting, whether it's efforts going through the legal system, and we see that there's a set of politicians who are supportive. That's actually something that we shouldn't take for granted. If we go back 100 years, the sentiment against immigration was even stronger than it is today.
This is a broad question, so I'm giving you as much canvas as you need, Leah, to paint as you will. But just talk to me about the politics of immigration. I asked you a moment ago about the way the narrative on the role that immigrants play in our society has changed over the years. Talk to me, as you will, historically and for that matter in real time, about the politics of immigration. We see what Donald Trump is doing on this issue. We see how he's behaving and showing up, and we see these troops again, these National Guard troops on the streets here in L.A. right now, putting the fear of God in everybody. But talk to me again about the politics of this issue. If ever there were a political football, immigration is it. It seems to me.
No, you're absolutely right. This is an issue that has tremendous polarization. There's no one feels halfway about the issue. If you look at how politicians speak about immigration, they're either resoundingly positive and supportive, or they're incredibly anti-immigration and very hostile. So we don't see very many people in the middle ground anymore. That's actually been a change in the past decades. You can go back to the 90s with politics in California or at the national level, and you'd see a lot of Democrats who would be crossing over and saying, we should be concerned about immigration. Is it happening too quickly? And you'd see a lot of Republicans who said, well, we really like to have immigrants in the country, particularly as workers. And so there was a lot of mixing going on politically, even back to the 90s or 2000s. But today, this has become an issue that's quite hardened. People are on one side, people are on the other. And so it's not surprising, like you said, that this becomes a political football when the administration feels like the news isn't going their way on a different issue. They'll bring immigration back in because they have a sense that it's something where they have strong support on their side.
Clearly, we are a nation of immigrants. As I've said before, we're a nation of immigrants. We just don't like immigrants. That's who we are. But in this moment, we appear not to like immigrants so much. What I find fascinating about that, Leah, is that we are as colored a nation now as we've ever been. I don't mean colored in the context of how they used to call black people colored folk. I mean, this country is more multiracial, more multi-ethnic, more multicultural than ever before. We are more colored now than we have ever been. How do you read the fact that at the moment where we are so rich and full of color that we're turning against certain shades of color that we don't want to enter this country? It seems to me the ultimate kind of hypocrisy.
But it's a hypocrisy that is, as you said, very distinctively American. We've gone through this before. So at the moment, we're 15% foreign born in the country. Mm-hmm. So that's around 1 in 7 persons that you would meet as you're walking down the street would be someone who was born in another country. And that sounds like a lot, but if you go back to 1900 or 1910 or 1920, it was the same ratio. It was the same percentage. And in fact, back then, we also had all sorts of efforts at immigration enforcement. There was the Palmer raids leading up to what in the 1920s was a closure of the border. There were deportations of Mexican immigrants during the Great Depression. And so we've always had this interesting tension where on the one hand, we're a country of immigrants and we've long had 15% of the population foreign born, or we've had that share at moments and then that share has gone down. Now it's back up again. But despite the fact that we have so many immigrants and people with immigrant heritage, we still have an anti-immigrant streak. And that's still you can still push on that button politically and agitate a number of voters. But what I think is really, as I was saying, unique about this moment is that we also have a substantial group of voters who are pro-immigration. That includes some recent immigrant groups themselves, but it also includes allies and supporters. I don't hear very many politicians going out there, though, and sort of giving the positive case or the affirmative case. Right now, people who are pro-immigration are more on the defense. But who's out there saying, actually, we do have streets of gold, that immigrants have been a success for our economy and they have been a success for our society.
You mentioned this anti-immigrant streak that has always existed in this country. I'm curious as to whether or not the epicenter of that anti-immigrant streak the source of it, put another way, is different now than it was historically. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. So what's interesting when we analyze anti-immigrant speeches on the floor of Congress is that discussion of economic issues are rarely part of the speech. So the idea of immigrants take our jobs, or immigrants take too much from the social welfare system and they don't pay taxes, that's actually not part of the anti-immigrant speeches. What we hear today is a topic that's echoed in the past, which is that immigrants commit crimes, and that immigrants bring threat to the country. Might be through drugs, might be through terrorism. Those kinds of accusations and allegations were also common in the past. And so there's more of a narrative of fear and protection rather than really a discussion about economic competition.
Yeah.
And so we did look into the data to see, well, is it true? Are immigrants more likely to be in jail? Are they more likely to be committing crimes? And we were able to go all the way back in the data to the 1870s and 1880s and all the way forward to today. And the answer is that there's never been a period in U.S. history, never, when immigrants are more likely to be incarcerated, to be in jail, than the U.S. born. And even today, if you look at the top 20 sending countries, right? You look at India and China, but you also look at Jamaica, you look at Haiti, there's no sending country where immigrants are more likely to be in jail than the U.S. born.
What do you make then of the way in which Donald Trump has been able to make that narrative stick? And you've just given us the data which suggests that Donald Trump is lying to the American people. But what's your sense of why that narrative that he's advanced about the crime, et cetera, sticks so well?
Well, I've put the data out into the public, so I've gotten reaction from the public. And when I hear from someone who's anti-immigration, what they say is one crime is too many. You know, so if there's any murder, if there's any violent activity and the perpetrator is an immigrant, you know, then that's too much and we should send people back. But within a population of 44 million, which is the number of immigrants we have in the country, there's going to be one chess master, there's going to be one Nobel Prize winner, there's going to be one criminal, and there's going to be one of any type of person out of, if you have 44 million. So if that's your standard, then of course the answer is close to the border. And so it's almost like we're having two different conversations. It's not like people need to just know the data and the facts, and then they're going to change their mind.
Let me offer this as my exit question, I think. And it's simply this. Do you think that America, again, a nation of immigrants, will ever return to a narrative where we celebrate, we revel in the immigrant success that you talk about in this book, Streets of Gold? Or are we forever on a path where immigrants will be demonized and bastardized?
I'm looking out to politicians, to the public, to look for those brave souls who want to get out on the positive side of things and tell the positive story. The data and the facts support that story. And there are so many narratives and anecdotes from individuals and from families that support that story. And so while I appreciate people who are being defensive and defending the institutions that we have, I also am wondering who's out there telling the positive story. So I hope this conversation is part of that as well.
Yeah, it is, Leah Boustan, and you should be proud of that. Princeton economics professor, co-author of the text Streets of Gold, America's Untold Story of Immigrant Success. The timing of this conversation, as I said at the top, could not be more propitious given what's happening in L.A. Right now. Leah Boustan, good to have you on the program. Thanks for your work. All the best to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tavis.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Black Mayor Eric Adams signed an executive order adopting an international definition of anti-Semitism to fight rising hate incidents.
We can't remain silent in a city where the Jewish community makes up 10%, yet comprise of 57% of the hate crimes in our city.
Police can now use the definition in response efforts. A black 12-year-old Virginia boy is being hailed a hero after rescuing his grandmother and two younger brothers from a house fire. Ramir Parker acted fast, carrying his siblings to safety through smoke and flames before firefighters arrived. And Tiana Taylor got emotional during a recent interview on Today with Jenna and Friends after receiving surprise gold and platinum awards for Keep That Same Energy and the album. The moment came as she promoted her comeback album, Escape Room, out in August, and a new single called Long Time. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is your concrete cracking? Is your uneven walkway dangerous? Do you need to level that concrete porch or patio? Contact Groundworks, the concrete lifting experts. Riverside, get your free inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA Finals is tied up at 1-1. The Oklahoma City Thunder rebounded from a traumatic loss in Game 1 with a 123-107 win over the Indiana Pacers. Another magnificent game from NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 points and 8 assists. SGA has 72 points in the first two games in the finals. That's the highest two-game total in NBA history for a player competing in his first finals. The next two games are in Indianapolis. Game 3 is Wednesday night. The Dodgers beat St. Louis Sunday 7-3. They start a 3-game series tonight in San Diego. The Angels lost at home to Seattle 3-2. Angels batters struck out 18 times. The Angels start a 3-game series tonight at home against Oakland. UCLA's baseball team is in the College World Series for the first time since 2013. The Bruins beat Texas San Antonio 7-0 to win the LA Super Regional. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again. Holla.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on. On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are two big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
The best of the whinings today, all 3 hours of our program, because June is Black Music Month, and we do it all: gospel, R&B, jazz, hip-hop, folk, blues, you name it. Every day we're celebrating music during the month of June. We love the month of June. It gives us an excuse to play a lot of great stuff that we don't often hear. And every day we choose a different artist of the day, and we feature the best of their catalog. Today it's the Winans, the entire family. That, of course, BB and Cece. We played some of the Winans brothers. So, again, all 3 hours today, we are celebrating June Black Music Month with the music of the Winans. A conversation now, as promised, with media executive Paul Allen Billings about the ultimate radio promotion, a free trip to Africa for kids from low-income communities, all of whom are first-generation international travelers. I celebrate that. I am honored that Paul Allen Billings is the general manager of not one but 2 stations on which this program is heard. And let me just say to him right now, as I say to everybody all the time, how grateful I am for this program to be syndicated in markets all across this country. He is the general manager at our affiliate, the WHBP in Orlando, Florida, and WUVS in Muskegon, Michigan. Paul Allen Billings, good to have you on this program, sir. How are you today?
Peace and blessings, Tavis. Peace and blessings, my brother. We're doing great, man. It's an honor to be with you today.
It's good to hear your voice. An honor to have you on this program. Once again, thank you for carrying me every day on these two great stations in Orlando and Muskegon. Tell me about the genesis. I want to make the most of the time that we have here. Tell me about the genesis of this program, Paul.
Well, traveling a lot, been a traveler, and I go to Ghana a lot where I'm a chief, and just seeing the response from kids from other races at the slave capsules and how they responded to it. And I wasn't seeing a lot of black kids from America when I go visit the slave capsules or go to the village or go to the Du Bois Center. And so it was just a dream. It was just a dream of giving kids opportunity to expose their mind to things that I didn't have opportunity when I was younger. So it started off as a dream, and now it's became a reality since 2017. Over 40 kids from poverty-stricken neighborhoods, given a passport, given a visa, taking care of the yellow fever vaccines, everything paid for to Ghana, West Africa. And this year we are adding on Egypt. It's been an amazing program. Probably I've done a lot of things in life. God has really blessed me, but this has been one of the most fulfilling things because you can see the light bulb clicking on with these kids, Tavis. So it's been a blessing to be a part of these kids' lives.
I can only imagine. I recall like it was yesterday, my very first trip to Africa. I think now I've been to like 16 countries. But my very first trip to Africa was as a kid with Maya Angelou, and I went to Ghana. That was my very first stop on the continent, carrying Maya Angelou's bags around for her for about 10 days. And when I tell you that trip fundamentally changed my life, I mean that very first trip. And as many times I've been back to the continent, and I need to get back. It's been a couple of years now. I've been so busy with this radio station, I've not gotten back in a couple of years. But every time I go back, it obviously does something to my spirit and to my soul. But that very first time I went, I will never, ever forget. Tell me more about how these kids, again, every year are selected for this kids' free trip to Africa, Paul.
We partner up with the schools. We've done a Black History essay contest this year, and the top winners are selected for the trip. We personally at the radio station don't select the kids. We allow the schools to select the kids, and from there, we do life skills leading up to our journey, so we can get to know these kids and they can know what to expect and get them prepared for international travel. Because this is a whole new can of worms for kids who probably haven't even been out. Most of them haven't even been outside the Midwest.
Yeah. So how do you? I'm going back to, and I wasn't a kid when I first went to Africa. I was in my 20s already. My first trip there with Maya. But when a kid has never left the city, or certainly never left the region, and you're taking them across the world to the continent of Africa, how do you prepare them for what they are about to experience? Because talk about culture shock, Paul.
Yeah, it's a big culture shock. And, nothing really prepares you for it, but we try to do a little training and things that the culture expectations, what you don't do, what you're going to see. In Africa, you use your right hand to shake hands. You don't use your left hand. You don't point at people. You don't laugh at people. The smile is a universal sign of acceptance, and smiling, but be observant. And so we go and check all the different boxes of what to expect. And as we get closer to the trip, the kids, they learn about even the currency exchange. We've been dealing with currency exchange and things of that nature. But nothing prepares you when they touch the soil and they feel the energy and they feel their ancestors when you go through those slave capsules. Nothing prepares you for that.
Tell me how the parents handle this, and I ask that in part because for these low-income kids, from low-income communities, I should say, when as I mentioned earlier, so many of these kids, most of these kids are first-generation international travelers. So they are doing something that their parents have never done, number one. And number two, their parents are letting them go all around the world, leaving that house to go to the other side of the world. How do the parents process letting those kids go to Africa?
The fortunate thing is that I'm from the community, and they know I travel a lot. I'm one country short of you. You've been to 16 countries in Africa. I've been to 15 countries in Africa. So, and I have a business in Tanzania. So they know that I travel a lot. I'm well respected. And so the parents are grateful. They're excited. They're happy. Of course, they're nervous. Because their babies are going on the other side of the world. Yeah. But to get an all-expense trip paid, and that don't happen too often. So the parents are, I think, just as excited as the kids.
Yep, I love to hear that. When we come forward, I want to ask Paul Allen Billings what the kids actually experience. You heard him say this year they're adding Egypt. They've been going to Ghana, but they're adding Egypt this year. I am curious. First of all, I'm jealous I can't go with them right about now, but I am curious as to what the trip will entail for these kids from these low-income communities. Again, they're all first-generation international travelers. They have no idea what they're about to experience, but I'm so happy for all of them. But I do want to know what they're going to experience on this particular trip. And you heard Paul say a couple times that the expenses are paid for. It's a beautiful thing when you're a black kid from an inner city community and somebody will cover all your expenses to go to Africa. I wish somebody would do that for me right about now. But where does this money come from? How's Paul making this happen? So more to cover with Paul Allen Billings as we celebrate the kids' free trip to Africa on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at pccfordena.com.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. This is Tavis Smiley. Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and radio executive Paul Allen Billings. He is the GM for not one but two of our affiliates in Orlando, Florida, and in Muskegon, Michigan. How he does it, I do not know. It's not like those stations are close to each other, but he's pulling it off and making trips to Africa, no less. So, Paul, we're talking, in case people have just tuned in, about this kids' free trip to Africa for kids from low-income communities, all expenses paid. These are the first generation of travelers, international travelers in these families, and so it's a beautiful story. And I certainly want to celebrate Paul for creating this program, and all these years later, they're still taking kids to Africa. So let me get out of your way right quick. My time is running on me. How long is this trip? Where are you going? What are these kids going to experience? Take it away, Paul Allen Billings.
We leave on June 26th, and we arrive in Cairo the next day. We're going to visit the pyramids, of course, in Cairo, check out the King Ramses statue in Cairo, go inside the pyramids. The kids would get a chance to ride a camel around the pyramids. They would get on a three-wheeler and ride around the pyramids in the three-wheeler. We would do a Nile River cruise while in Cairo. After 3 days in Cairo, we'll pay a visit to Luxor, where they would see the Valley of the Kings, which is the hidden tombs of the different kings, and the Valley of the Queens, while in Luxor. And then on July the 2nd, we would go to Accra, Ghana, and where we kick off the West Africa celebration. I'm heading to the slave castle, the Boer Center. I'm a chief in Ghana, West Africa. We're going to do a party in the village where they would do a naming ceremony and continue on our journey. So it's going to be a packed itinerary from beginning to end. Yeah,
you mentioned a couple of times that this trip is paid for, all expenses paid for these precious babies. Can I ask where the money comes from? How you doing this?
The community, Muskegon, Michigan. Shout out to my home city of Muskegon, Michigan. Tavis, you know about Muskegon.
Oh, I know it well.
Small city. Tanya Hart out there in Hollywood. She is from Muskegon, Michigan.
That's right.
And some more notable people, but our community comes together big time to support these kids. We put the money up, and they pay us back big time. And I couldn't be any prouder to be from Muskegon, Michigan. So the community supported, man. We get donations from $5 all the way up to $3,000.
Wow. So people in the community donate to make this happen.
They donate, brother. They donate big time. We have a GoFundMe page. So far, we get probably over 60 donations there. They donate during our blues show on the weekends. We got a community. They seen the impact of this, and they investing back into the babies. No, that's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing when you get people to just donate money in a community like Muskegon, this black community of Muskegon, so these kids can actually go see something. Here's the part I love about this. You have to know that so many of the folk, perhaps I'm certain an overwhelming majority, the majority of folk who are making these contributions for these kids to go to Africa have never been themselves. But they're right. Yeah, but they're contributing so that these babies can have an experience that they themselves have never had, and that for me is a beautiful thing. That's the definition of love, as far as I'm concerned. When we come forward, I want to close this conversation with Paul Allen Billings by asking him to give me a sense of what happens to these kids, how this trip to Africa forever changes them. We'll talk about that part. That's the sweet spot for me. You're listening to Paul Allen Billings. I'm glad about it on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct swift action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Paul Allen Billings. So, Paul, got 3 minutes left here. Tell me something good. Tell me about the ways in which you see this free trip for these kids to go to Africa, the ways in which it changes their lives.
When these kids follow the footsteps of their ancestors and hear the stories and see firsthand what the ancestors went through, there is a sense of strength inside of them that they tap into. And we've seen those stories time after time. We've dealt with kids who might have had low self-esteem or might have been quiet or might have been antisocial in school. When they come back on these trips, Tavis, they're changed. They're participating. You see the glow in them. When they go to the village and see how the average income in the village in most of these areas is $600 per year, but they're happy. Mm-hmm. They come back with a sense of gratitude and grateful for what their parents have done for them, because everybody don't have what the kids in America have. It's so many different things that they see that grab them and make them a better person. They're working together in Africa. You see people working together. When your car breaks down on the side of the road, you're not going to get hundreds of people passing you. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to stop within a minute. You're not seeing people fighting in the clubs, not hearing about, gunshots in the neighborhood. It's so much they gather. By the time it's time for us to leave, Tavis, nobody wants to come home.
I know that feeling. You give me goosebumps, man. You got me thinking about this first trip, and especially knowing, as you suggested earlier, that these kids are going to go to the Du Bois Center. We all know the Du Bois, W.B. Du Bois, of course, the first African American to get a PhD from Harvard, eventually gave up on America and went to Accra, Ghana. His home there is a museum. I've been there any number of times, but my very first time going was, again, carrying Maya Angelou's bags as she was giving a major lecture at that Du Bois Center, that Du Bois Museum, that Du Bois home in Accra. And on that trip, I made my way to the Elmina Slave Castle. That was so many years ago, I can't even remember. But I I'm having a moment here listening to Paul tell me that these kids are going to go to some of these places that I had a chance to go, again, many, many decades ago. It changed me, and I know it is going to change them. But I want to close this conversation again by offering a tribute to Paul Allen Billings. Sometimes, as I say often, we have to assign ourselves. Sometimes we have to assign ourselves. When you see a work, a witness that needs to be done, assign yourself to do it. And I am so grateful to Paul for creating this program, this Kids Free Trip to Africa, all these years ago. And for the kids who get a chance to go this year, again, they are in for a real treat. But I'm grateful to Paul for seeing the need to do this and giving these kids the kind of exposure. I've said, again, many times that our kids, black kids, are no different than any other kids in this country. They just lack exposure. Our kids lack exposure, and I'm, again, just thrilled at the idea that these kids are going to see the other side of the world. You got any room left, Paul? Can I sneak in somebody's? Can I sneak inside somebody's luggage, man?
Tavis, man, you can get it. The pilots let you in the cockpit, brother. You are the man.
No. I ain't the man like that. But I would love to sneak inside of somebody's bag and head on over there. And Paul, I ain't got time for this right now. But Paul mentioned I know Muskegon. I do. The love of my life when I was a kid in college was in Muskegon. Do you know the Burrow family there in Muskegon? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, very good friend. They donate every year.
Oh yeah,
they donate every year.
That's the kind of people they are, and that's why I dated one of those girls. All of them fine, but I got one of them. At least while I was in college. But that was 30, 40 years ago. Ain't nobody talking about that. Anyway, Paul, have a great trip to Africa. Thank you for coming on this program.
Please, sure. I'm praying for you guys out in L.A., man. We're praying for L.A., man. The world is watching.
No, I appreciate it, man. We need it, and we're gonna do our best to hold up the bloodstained banner while you take these kids to Africa. Have a great time, and I want to hear how it went when you get back, Paul.
All right, peace and blessings.
All
Take
right,
care.
Stay strong. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Black Mayor Eric Adams signed an executive order adopting an international definition of anti-Semitism to fight rising hate incidents.
We can't remain silent in the city where the Jewish community makes
fire. Ramir Parker acted fast, carrying his siblings to safety through smoke and flames before firefighters arrived.